get ready with me to go to my first haematology appointment following treatment. So my PET scan was on the 1st of July. That's about 2 weeks ago. Got my handy notebook, which I take to every single one of my appointments. So you want to put your notes in there. Any questions that come to mind, keep them in the book. You can write them down at any point and you are definitely going to forget things. So I highly recommend doing this. Some of the questions I've prepared for today are whether I need a follow-up PET scan due to the extensive brown fat that was documented on my previous PET scan. I put my scan results into ChatGPT, which you obviously have to take with many, many grains of salt and accept that the real answers are going to come from your specialist. But I feel I've got a decent amount of health literacy in order to sort of pick out what I feel is relevant or safe information to take from what ChatGPT was telling me when I put my report in there. It indicated brown fat could skew the results of a PET scan. It can light up bright, similar to cancer cells, apparently. So I want to know whether that means I need to get another PET scan. The original plan was not to need one unless I had signs of relapse. The scan report also mentioned mild activity in my neck. I want to know what that means, whether that needs any particular monitoring or follow-up. I want to know what signs and symptoms I should be looking out for that might indicate something's not going right, that I might be having a relapse or some long-term chemo side effects that need to be addressed. And I want to know when I can start doing some more things that I was avoiding during chemo, specifically like going to the dentist, eating more risky food like kebabs. I'm really missing my babs. And I had a note on there about how exhausted I feel after I exercise. So I want to talk about whether that's normal, how long I can sort of expect that to last. There's anything I should be doing to help manage that. I know a little bit about what to expect from here on forward. I know that I'm going to be needing to do 3 monthly blood tests and that my haematology appointments are going to be 3 monthly. And then all going well, they'll stretch out to 6 monthly. All going well, they'll stretch out to annually until I reach the 5-year mark of being in remission. So just confirm that that's still the plan. I'm wearing a comfy outfit today. It's a little bit coordinated. I got my green pants from Fate. Absolutely love these. They're so stretchy and comfortable. Got my Banksia forged in fire. If you know, you know. And my new Protea earrings. Hair check. So we've got really good coverage. It's really even. It's not patchy. I feel like it's a little bit darker than before. But I was told in a hair regrowth workshop to expect it to take about 3 months for your pigment to really settle. Speaking of pigment though, I've been really intrigued to see how my greys come back, because I feel like if anything's going to turn you grey, probably cancer battle, toxicity going through chemo. So I did actually have a pretty close look in the mirror this morning because I saw a few glimmers of greys coming in. So I don't know what you can see. This lighting's not fabulous, but I felt like I saw some speckled in there, which is exciting. It's exciting. It's a privilege to age. It's even more apparent now. Arrived at the hospital. We're at the Canberra hospital. Got a park in the multi-level story car park, and this has just reminded me of another milestone that I achieved last week or the week before. My accessible parking permit had run out and it expired on the 8th of July, and I thought that was a really exciting thing, you know, moving forward, not needing that extra support anymore, my body getting stronger. So that was really exciting. I'm going to meet my husband in the cancer centre and together we'll go and see the haematologist. I've got my notebook with all my questions and I'll touch base with you afterwards. All right, bye.
Hi, I'm just jumping on with an update about my haematology appointment, which was yesterday. Didn't quite make it back to the camera yesterday. So here we are today. I've got my notebook where I kept my questions and my answers to those questions. So I confirmed I am in remission. Fantastic. No need to do a follow-up PET scan. The brown fat didn't seem to worry the haematologist. He said it's very normal for that to show up on a scan, and the mild activity in my neck is not to worry about either. I did end up getting sick a few days after my PET scan, so he said I probably had something in my system that was brewing, and that is what was showing on the PET scan. He said they're very, very sensitive tests, so he said if anyone even were to sneeze on you in the elevator, that it would probably show up on a PET scan, which is a joke, obviously, but he said they're that sensitive, so that's not to worry about. I asked about what sort of signs and symptoms to look out for moving forward, and he said that I should be looking out for any fevers, sweats, unexplained weight loss, and we'll be doing 3 monthly blood tests to see if there's anything that shows up in my blood work, and they'll be able to do any further testing that may warrant. He said I can start returning to doing some of those risky things, eating kebabs, for example, at about 3 months post-treatment. So very much looking forward to that. Hubby had a big smile on his face when he heard that, so we'll be scheduling in our next date night at the kebab shop in probably a month's time. He suggested that the exercise I'm doing at the moment might be too intense, and that doing an intense weights program may not be what my body needs right now, and it's a bit too intense. So he suggested that I should be focusing on more endurance activities, things like walking, swimming, cycling. I'm not a cyclist or a swimmer, so I'm going to start with walking, but upping the intensity a little bit to really get your heart going. So I might switch to that focus, which is not my favourite type of exercise. So I'm going to employ hubby, bring him along, make it a bit more fun. We'll see how we go there. I will still keep attending the exercise class weekly because I want to keep working on my strength in my muscles. I know that's really important, and it's good for my long-term goal is to get back to my home gym doing more heavy compound exercises. So I want to keep doing that. Might tone it down in terms of intensity, how many reps I do, but how much weight I'm lifting. So I'm going to try that and see how my body responds moving forward. In terms of contraceptive options, menstrual cycle, he said that could take 3 to 6 months to really settle and recalibrate from a hormonal point of view. Contraceptive options, best place to go is my GP if I want to explore new options. If I wanted to go back to what I was on before I was sick, if I had no issues in my body with that type of contraception, which for me it was a pill. I was taking Levlin, was the brand name. He said you'd be fine to actually restart that. He was happy to send a letter to my GP about that. But I said I'm actually interested in different options now, so that is my next step there. Also, interestingly, I was talking about my experience with my return to work, and that I'm really having to finish each day at around 2 p.m. because I get quite exhausted mentally and I can't concentrate. Sometimes I even want to fall asleep. So he said that can actually take 6 to 12 months to really get back to what I was able to do before, my mental capacity. And so that's really good for me to know, to stop putting so much pressure on myself, and to remind myself to keep taking it easy. So those are the updates from my haematology appointment for July 2025. Thanks for listening, and catch you next episode.